Welcome back to Real Talk Sports with Rico. Let's jump right into it, talking the NBA Summer League championship game that went into overtime. Let's start with Khalil Ware. This is a rookie that I definitely had a chance to take a look at some of his tapes coming out of college, and I thought that he potentially could be maybe the number one center in this particular draft. He's really shown out this particular summer league. He had 21 points last night, +7 in the box score, 10 rebounds. And the one thing that they talk about with Khalil Ware is his motor. They were saying that he didn't have a high motor coming out of the University of Indiana, and I have not seen that with Khalil Ware. I think that he's been spectacular out there, and I don't think he could have went to a better team other than the Chicago Bulls. Just joking, but I think that the best place that he could have gone was right here with the Miami Heat. I think that Pat Riley is going to do a great job with him, along with Eric Spoelstra. I feel like the Heat culture is going to be terrific for him. So shout out to Khalil Ware, who played extremely well. Another guy I want to talk about is Larson for the Miami Heat. I think that Larson is going to get some minutes right away. They've already lost Gabe Vincent. They've lost Max Strus. And I think that there's some minutes out here for Larson to go out and be a playmaker for the Miami Heat. I think that he has a chance to be out there with Jaime Jaquez, Jimmy Butler, Bam, and Khalil Ware immediately. He hit the game-winning shot. He was 7 of 9 out there. He also had 4 assists, and he did have a block shot and 4 assists. I already said that, but 3 rebounds. But I was just thinking of another player that he is going to go ahead and replace, and that's Caleb Martin. So I think that this was a terrific pickup for the Miami Heat. Another storyline for the Miami Heat and really this summer league is Josh Christopher. Shout out to him. Josh Christopher came into the league as a first-round pick, I believe, with the Houston Rockets. Hadn't really found his ground in the NBA just yet, but had 24 points, and he's really had a phenomenal summer league. And this is why you love summer league, because you get a chance to see players play their way, into an NBA contract and perhaps a bigger role. Just depends on where you go. I think a lot of times it's not just the opportunity, but it's how that opportunity fits with that particular player. And I think that Josh Christopher is in a place where he could be successful with the Miami Heat. So hopefully they take him and they bring him up to the big club at some point. Maybe he starts off with the G League, but I think that more than likely the Miami Heat would bring him up and elevate him to the bigger club. But he knocked down some big shots. I think he knocked down some big shots throughout Summer League, and I believe he was the MVP of the game last night. On the other side of this thing, the Memphis Grizzlies. And so starting with Gigi Jackson II, and shout out there to Devontae DeRue Hogan, but he talked about that the Grizzlies need to have a wing, and I think that they absolutely do need a wing player, which is a small forward for the listeners out there. I think that Gigi Jackson II does fit that mold. I think that he's going to get more of an expansive role with the Memphis Grizzlies. And the great thing about it is Gigi Jackson II is stepping into a situation where the Memphis Grizzlies will be more healthy this year. They're going to get a healthy Ja Morant. I think that Zach Edey, who looked terrific in his limited action in the Summer League, is going to be an absolute force. And I'm thinking back to the success that they had when they had Steven Adams out there. And I get a lot of those vibes from Zach Edey. So the pick and roll situation with Ja Morant and Zach Edey could be very scary for a lot of NBA teams. And this team is not that far removed from a second place finish in the West. Remember Ja Morant's statement, we're not worried about the West. Well, that team is essentially coming back, and it is retooled a little bit. You have Marcus Smart coming in. You're going to get Desmond Bane. You've already got Jaren Jackson Jr., and now you've got Gigi Jackson the second out here. And they also had a terrific performance, I believe, from Jake LaRiva, Jake LaRiva, who came in. He had 32 points, 6 rebounds, and he also had 2 blocks as well. I thought that he had a very good summer league, a very productive summer league. Probably butchered his name, but oh well. And then Scottie Pippen Jr., right? And here's a guy that played for the Lakers and he is now getting an opportunity with the Grizzlies. I thought that he was one of the shining stars in this particular summer league, but 29 points, 9 of 24, hit some big shots, gave up the game winner, but definitely showed that he could defend out there as well. So I think that there is a lot of bright spots for the Memphis Grizzlies out there. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the NBA Summer League. I always think that the NBA Summer League is important because you can go out there, you can find some undrafted gold, or you might get a situation like Josh Christopher where teams just, or a player just needs to get to a different situation in order to be effective. Now, guys, let's move into the next part of the show where we are talking about the NFL season to come. And usually what I like to do is I like to go to each team one by one before we go ahead and decide, okay, who is going to win the division and such. So let's start with the NFC North. And let's start with the Chicago Bears. All right. So I want to go with the Bears. And the question here is Bears make a run this year. Okay. So there is some real optimism around the Chicago Bears. Clearly they have Caleb Williams. If you've had a chance to look at his games out of USC, I mean, he's looked the part. A lot of people put him in comparison to a Patrick Mahomes, that's deep. That's real deep. All right. If you're talking about a Patrick Mahomes, I mean, that's some big shoes to step into. But if anybody can do it, I guess it is Caleb Williams. I mean, he's showing you some big play ability out there. He's also shown that, when the play breaks down, he can move the chains with his feet as well. And I don't think there's anybody in the draft that didn't say that he was not a great leader. All right. So that's another trait that you want to have in your quarterback as well. And so going into what Caleb Williams has looked like thus far in camp, and this is on Bears Wire where you guys can check out this article that we're taking a look at. But the one thing that you're going to get out of this is that Caleb Williams has done a terrific job, first and foremost, in trusting his checkdowns. All right. So what I'm reading about with Caleb Williams thus far is that he's shown the athleticism. Okay. There was a 2-minute drill out there, I think, in day one of camp, and he goes to throw the ball. It gets knocked down. He catches it before it hits the ground. So he completes the pass to himself. He runs to the right side, gets out of bounds. And they don't score in this particular 2-minute drive, but the athleticism was on display there. And then also, too, they talk about the fact that he was able to dump down the football and he didn't take chances in the coverage necessarily, which is a good thing. And I think that it came down to like a 3rd and 6 or something like that. And he did go for the end zone and had an incomplete pass. I think he was going for DJ Moore, but it was a good play. It's not like he's turning the ball loose into coverage, and you like the fact that he's willing to take that chance. And I think that one of the things that they were talking about with Caleb Williams is he's done a lot of studying with Tom Brady and Drew Brees, and I'm not saying with them, but of their tape. And they complete a lot of footballs to their running backs to get their teams into the 2nd and 5s, the 2nd and 6s. And I think that that's what Caleb Williams is going to need to do in order to be successful. And it's tough because we wanted to see Justin Fields have a successful career. But let's be honest, they did not put this type of offense around Justin Fields that they put around Caleb Williams. All right. And let's start with the running back battle that is out there for the Bears. Look, they have DeAndre Swift, who's coming over from the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And he also played with the Detroit Lions. And this is a versatile back that comes out of the backfield that is a great pass catching running back. And I think that he's easily going to be able to win some matchups against your linebackers and maybe even some of your corners as well. And so that is an added bonus for Caleb Williams. He also has Khalil Herbert on the roster. You have Rashawn Johnson there, Travis Homer coming over from Seattle. All those running backs are established, and these are guys that can go out and not just run the football, but they are going to be a bit of a safety blanket for Caleb Williams. So I'd expect for them to be heavily involved in the offense. Next up, let's talk about the wide receivers before we go into the center battle that is going on with the Bears. The wide receivers, in my eyes, with the Chicago Bears, I think that this is the best wide receiver room since, I don't know. Brandon Marshall was there, Alshon Jeffries, Jay Cutler was the quarterback. So the offensive cupboard is really full, okay, because they have now Keenan Allen over here. They've got Rome Odunze. And then they've also got DJ Moore. All right. And so all these guys are very capable of moving the football. And I think that the targets that now that Caleb Williams is going to have, it's probably some of the best that have been in Chicago in quite some time. And that's not even talking about what they have at tight end with Jared Everett, Cole Kmet. Like, they are loaded on the offensive side of the ball. So the Bears have no excuse offensively. Okay. And also, too, Ryan Poles has come in and he is immediately put his fingerprints on this team. He's gone out, he's gotten his quarterback, he's gone out and gotten him some weapons on the offensive end. It's all about the Chicago Bears and moving the football. One of their battles is going to be center. All right. And center is probably one of the most important positions on your football team. Yes, it's not something that's going to end up on ESPN. Yes, it's not going to end up on Fox Sports. And no, you're not going to see any of the analysts talking about it, but it is extremely important to picking up defenders and blitzes, blocking adjustments, which is what you need when you have a young quarterback like Caleb Williams out there. So, pay attention to that if you are a Bears fan. And if you're looking to see them take the step, the Bears are going to need to figure that out. They talk about Coleman Shelton. They talk about, the player that's come over from the Rams here, Ryan Bates, who's had some experience. So there's going to be quite the battle for the center position, and this is an important battle. Next up, the defensive end for the Chicago Bears. We already know about Montez Sweat. We know what he can do, but who is going to be that next player, right? Who is going to be alongside of Montez on the defensive end? Because the defense was pretty solid for the Chicago Bears last year. They talk about DeMarcus Walker being in there. And then they're talking about some players that really have not, really made an impact, but they are on the roster. So they're trying to figure that out, whether it is, Khalid Kareem here, other players on the defensive end that they're trying to figure out. Austin Booker, who's coming in as a rookie. They're trying to figure out who is going to be that other edge rusher, which is going to be important for the Bears, especially if they are trying to get to the quarterback without calling a lot of blitzes and things like that. This is why you want to be able to control the defensive front. And it does start with your ends and your edge rushers, right? Because it almost feels like if you're getting up the field there, you're creating some pocket situations for the opposing quarterback, and there's a lot of different things that come with that. And so that's an important position. They're talking about the kick returning position as well as a possible battle for the Bears. I think that the rookie Rome Odunze is going to come in and really take advantage of this. I do like DeAndre Carter, who played with Washington. He also played with the Chargers as well. I don't know how he figures it out, but he figures out a way to be an impact. But I think that the rookie out of Washington should be the kick returner for the Bears. But these are some of the battles that are going to be going on in the Bears camp. And like I said, Caleb Williams has looked good thus far in trusting his checkdowns and things like that. I think they are about maybe 48 days away from playing in the Hall of Fame game. But I think that the biggest takeaway from this is that the Chicago Bears are going to need to be able to score points, and they're going to need to be able to keep their defense off the field and rested, and they're going to have to sustain some drives as well. And so this team has all the pieces to do so. It's really going to depend on Caleb Williams, and can Caleb Williams not fall in love with trying to go for the big play like he sometimes did in college, because I think he did that. He climbed out of the pocket a little too soon, went down the field. It led to some interceptions. And I think what happened to Caleb Williams a lot of times when you look back at the film, when they took away some of these USC receivers, right, and they matched up and they got physical with them, I think it was Utah, and they forced Caleb to stay in the pocket. I don't think he really got comfortable. And I think that that's something that he's going to see a lot of in the pros initially until he starts to figure things out. He's going to have to find ways for the offense to get wins, getting into the 2nd and 6s, 2nd and 5s. He's going to want to see some short gains and some real wins that way to kind of get the ball down the field. And so I think that's the key. The Bears are going to be just fine on the defensive end. Right now, I think that they're picked at 8.5 wins a game. I think that if they put it together, I think that the Bears could possibly have a 9-win season. All right. Now we're going to do the prediction once we get through the entire division. But if they were to get 9 games right now, the Packers, they were 9-8, and they found a way to get into the playoffs. And the Packers were scary last year. Okay. And so I think that the Bears can take that leap. I think that they have a direction in their franchise. Caleb Williams is saying all the right things. I want to see what happens once live action starts. Does that confidence get shaken a bit? But if that confidence stays high and he's able to trust the experience on the outside and they figure it out up front, this could be a very scary team. I think a lot of people are thinking that Caleb Williams is going to have the CJ Stroud approach this year. And I mean, to say that a rookie is going to come in like CJ Stroud, that's saying a lot. All right. And because I talked to some people about that, and you rarely see a quarterback come in the league with that type of command like CJ Stroud, especially coming out of Ohio State, where it's been tough at the quarterback position when they get to the league. And so kudos to CJ Stroud. I loved everything that he's been able to do out there, and I hope it continues this next year. Very excited with what they have got over there, especially bringing Diggs. So I can't wait to talk about them. But right now, I got the Bears winning. I think they're going to win 9 games. I really do. I think they're going to win 9 games. I think that Caleb Williams can figure out enough. I just don't know if it's going to be enough for the playoffs. But hey, we'll be talking about some other teams in the division. Next up, we'll probably be talking about the Minnesota Vikings, and then we're going to work our way up in that division. So anyway, thank you guys out there for watching the show. I appreciate that. You can catch us on YouTube under Real Talk Sports with Rico. You can also catch me on Spotify as well under Real Talk Sports with Rico. Then you can also catch me on the radio station out there in Chicago. I'm going to put the link to the notes there. I'm doing a show every Sunday on that. And then if you want to catch me talking a little Bulls basketball, catch me out there at Bulls Digest. But anyway, thank you for the sponsors. Thank you to the fans. I will see you guys on the next one. Real Talk Sports with Rico. As usual, we're out. Peace. Peace, peace, peace.